Mentally feel like Kobe, I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats, circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready, who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm Mr. Bennett. I'll be joined by my partner soon. The coach is in the building. We'll have Dante on, and hopefully Shawnee, he'll be coming in towards the end of the show. Good to have you guys here on this. We're going into this championship weekend. We had the college football championship just recently. And so, sort of lots of to chop up, certainly from the weekend, a lot of movement, especially on the NFL. So, again, look forward to that conversation tonight. Good to have you guys with us. Just make sure when you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly as you come in, certainly helps the algorithm for us. And then also consider dropping a Cash App or Super Chat to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. You see the Cash App for Black Man Unfiltered scrolling at the bottom of your screen. So, again, we appreciate support that you give to the channel. But anything that you want to give to us personally, our Cash Apps are scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. So again, good to have you guys with us. I believe the coach is already in the building. So, Coach, are you back there? So, Coach might be just detained for a minute, but we do have a special guest in the building tonight. So this gentleman here is he's probably the biggest Chicago Bears fan that I know. And so he goes hard for the Bears, but more importantly, he's also the president of the Caleb Williams fan club. So without any further ado, welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Hank from Hank in the Basement. Salute, my brother. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good, but I don't know about this.
How you doing, man? I haven't had chop with you a while. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I can't complain. How about yourselves? Hopefully y'all
doing fantastic. Doing fantastic. And the coach, look at the coach with the AI background. Look at that. My man's doing work out there. Hey, Hank, do you see our new banner in the background? You appreciate that? You like that?
Looks good, man. Y'all doing things over here, man.
Yeah. First of all, he made me huge. First, he gave me Black Man. He gave me a goatee. I usually go hairless, but he put a little goatee in the bottom here to give me some facial hair. I guess I couldn't be the only one with some without facial. So I'll take the goatee though. I appreciate that. But yeah, man. Certainly looking forward to chopping it up. And again, Hank, just want to thank you. You always have a welcome invitation on the show as we talk about the world of sports. Are you good for the show, or you just want to kind of talk about your segment and then you out?
No, man. I'm good. I got a little time, so we good. We could chop it up. Sounds good.
Shout out to our guy, as always, Anton in the build tonight. Appreciate you being here. And we got an interesting visitor that we can put in the timeout. We appreciate you stopping through anyway. Thank you very much. But yeah, man, let's get into this. So again, before we get into the games, again, just want to talk a little bit about the coaching carousel that has certainly been going on in the NFL as of late. So again, we talked about this last week with all of the firings of head coaches in the NFL. So again, I'll just bring up the screen here. So we saw this last week. And again, they set a record with 9 firings. Certainly last week with Mike Tomlin actually resigning. If you want to call it that. So some call it a firing, some call it a resign. But
it was 10. They had
what's
10.
That?
It was 10 coaches.
Well, again, we're going to get there. I'm building it up. So we had the 9, and then we had our most recent firing, and this sort of came out of probably one of the bigger surprises that certainly came out. So we saw that Coach Sean McDermott got fired yesterday. Why isn't my screen changing? Hang on a second, guys. This should be going with the screen. Stop presenting. Let me just go back to it. But Sean McDermott of the Bills. So, again, they had that heartbreaking loss certainly in Denver. He got the axe as well. In fact, I even watched today the press conference with the CEO, the owner of the Bills, and the general manager, who actually got a promotion. He's also now president of football operations. So you had a lot of the press and certainly Bills fans are upset. It's like, look, McDermott had you guys relevant for a lot of years, for the past 7 years in the playoffs. And, so why'd he get the axe, but not the GM? So again, that was sort of like the latest casualty of this. So again, I wanted to get your thoughts on the McDermott firing. Again, we went into it last week, but Hank, if you have any thoughts on the recent coaching firings, we're also going to talk about the new hires also, because again, there's been a lot of action on that front as well. So we can talk about those as well, the hirings and firings that have taken place as of late. And we're going to get into Josh Allen. I mean, we had a lot of smoke for Lamar Jackson, which I think rightly so. But if you're going to get on Lamar, then, you got to get on Josh Allen also. Had a horrible game. But, Coach, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the McDermott firing, and was it fair, or was he just a scapegoat of a seemingly, from what I'm seeing now, based on that press conference, somewhat of a dysfunctional organization at this point?
Just real quick, because I'm going to let he rock it out. But Justin McDermott, it was a surprise to me. But I don't know, man. I guess the NFL is doing a shifting of the knowledge. That's all I see. But it was a surprise, because like you said, the GM should have been walking too. And Josh Allen, it was his time, man. I thought he would be the godfather coming into this year, because he's had success and his losses have come against Patrick. But they didn't get it done, man. I thought they had a team well enough to get it done. It just didn't happen.
Absolutely. Hank, your thoughts on McDermott firing?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised by the news when I heard it. Didn't really see that coming, for sure. But I heard I was talking to a guy. I was on TikTok, and I heard a guy talking about if he doesn't, make it to the Super Bowl, that more than likely he's going to get fired. And he was a Buffalo Bills fan. I thought he was crazy for saying that. I thought that was a stretch, but maybe he knew something I didn't. So very surprised by the news. But I'll tell you this: he won't be unemployed long. Somebody will find value in him and give him another job.
Yeah.
Shout out to my white brothers and sisters. They always get them jobs again. They could be fired one day, the next day they got a new job. So shout out to my white brothers who were able to go get a job soon after they get fired. We can't do that, but somebody got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's get into some of the hires that have taken place. So again, the first hire on the docket here. So you got, again, Jeff Hafley, who's now the new head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Again, another coordinator. So again, they didn't wait too long. And also, as a side note, you also had their former coach McDaniel. He's now the offensive coordinator for San Diego, and I always thought that'd be a good move for him to get back into an OC type of position. So it didn't take him long to find a new home, and certainly it'd be interesting to see with him and Harbaugh if they can kind of get over the hump, because I think they're also wasting the talent of their quarterback. So we'll see if McDaniel can certainly do something with him as far as getting him straight on. Another hiring, certainly in the Northeast of which I think has been pretty well received. So again, John Harbaugh, very similar to Mike Tomlin, had 16, 17 years with the Ravens, got hired by the Giants, and the buzz around here in the New York, New Jersey area has been, for the most part, pretty positive. And we got our guy, Dante, in the build tonight. Salute, sir. Good to have you on. And so again, this again, so far, very positive. He's going in with a decent rookie quarterback. And, so again, for the most part, very well received, his hiring in the NFL. And then we also had for the Tennessee Titans, in his second go round, we got Robert Saleh, who's now the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans. So again, you've had some real movement so far. I know the Steelers, they're still in interviews. I know a couple guys they want to interview. They're on the Ram squad, but they're not going to be able to talk to them obviously until after the season. but they have their sights set on the defensive coordinator Shula, and also they have an interview set up with their offensive coordinator Steelhouse, and possibly maybe get a 2-for-1 deal. That if they hire Shula as the head coach, then they might be able to get Steelhouse to go from the Rams to the Steelers as well. But he's also in the running for the head coaching position. And then the last thing I just want to kind of bring up as a sort of a return home, that Eric Bieniemy is coming back into the fold. He had a lot of success those early years with Mahomes, and certainly his career kind of floundered a little bit. Certainly since he left there, couldn't get a head coaching position, but certainly he's going back to again familiar place. And so this is kind of the activity that's been going on so far. But you still have several positions that are still open. If I just bring this up again, so several teams, the Ravens, Steelers, and I think the Falcons also they also got a coach out that the guy from Cleveland. They just so he's on. So that vacancy's been filled. So you still got the Raiders, Cardinals, and again Steelers and Ravens are still looking for head coaches, and obviously just added to the list is the Buffalo Bills. So maybe we just talk a little bit about, as far as for these open positions, including the Bills, who do you think is likely to get some of these jobs? Any guys who you think may land in certain positions, especially with McDermott just being let go? Do you think one of the teams that's still on this board is an ideal location for him? So we'll start with Dante at the bottom. Salute, sir. Welcome to the show. And your thoughts on, again, the coaching carousel, which, again, this is the biggest year. 10 spots open in 1 year. And, so, again, lots of movement. Your thoughts on the current situation in NFL?
First and foremost, what's going on, fellas? Hope everything is going okay with you guys. And I'll jump into it as far as I got to start with McDermott. For one thing, I'm tired of the saying that, hey, this was coming. Like I would say, McDermott you can see coming, Tomlin you can see coming, and Harbaugh you can see coming. Just because you've had success, a level of success in a place for a while, if you haven't been able to recreate, get a little bit higher, then there are going to be changes that need to be made. I would say there's been a lot of questions about his decision making over the years, and I can say for a fact he may not have had all of the talent on the team that was perfect, but you had a good situation with one of the best quarterbacks in left in the playoffs. You got to find a way to win the games. You got to find a way to do it. And I want to say he's got a lot of knocks at it. I personally would say, hey, he's a solid. I know he's a good defensive mind, but he seemed like he did solid with the locker room. I think some of the other teams should be open to looking at him. I thought the Dolphins, especially in the division, should have gave him a look. I don't know a whole lot about the coaches they hired, but it seemed kind of. I guess that's just kind of where the Dolphins are as a hiring in general. But some of the coaching firings, I don't quite understand. I would say, yes, Stefanski, he's got some ability, but I would say if that's who you hired, I mean, I can see it, but maybe you should have held on to Raheem Morris with so many jobs open, and then they're not all going to go open the next year. I mean, the Raiders are the Raiders. You get the number one pick, but it's a dumpster fire. And I would say some of these, I don't know. I don't know what Baltimore. I thought Baltimore should have had maybe more of a plan, but I have to see who they hire. And I would say I would like for the Steelers to actually get an offensive coach, an offensive mind, because you're going to need something because you're going to go defense, and the defense can still be turned around really quickly. But the offense is going to be an uphill battle. So I would think they would need a mind, and obviously the Steelers have patience. So if you do get that job, they are going to be patient with you and give you time to grow.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Hink, your thoughts on the new hires, and as far as for the open positions that are still out there, who do you think may land where, especially for guys like McDermott? What do you think is a good landing spot for them?
Well, the McDermott thing, man. Again, I didn't understand that. I say this: if I wouldn't look at the Raiders. I wouldn't look at the Raiders. I wouldn't take a call from him. I wouldn't take an opportunity. I wouldn't even waste time giving an interview. In fact, none of them coach, unless you're an assistant coach, I wouldn't take that Raiders job. Mm. I would not a seasoned coach. You deserve better. Assistant coach, since it's your first time being a coach, You might have to take the shit jobs. We all know how it goes. When you first get into the you might have to work your way from the mailroom all the way up to maybe a supervisor or CEO or manager. You have to work your way up. But a guy who's already had a job before has maybe had a couple winning seasons, but had a few more bad losing seasons in the miss, I wouldn't take that job. So, look, I could see Tennessee as being a great destination for McDermott. I do. I don't see.
Well, Tennessee already hired Solly.
Did they end up Solly? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if they hired him or not. Okay, because I know they was talking about it. Okay, cool. Well, I guess that job's off the board. I don't know if he could continue to get that Tennessee, I would look at the NFC job. I would look at the NFC job, but I don't think it's unopen, is it?
From that list, well, you had I think the Cardinals was open. I think that might have been like the only one left on the NFC side.
One?
Yeah, there was a lot of.
And the Cardinals, that's the tough division.
Yeah,
so that's when you gotta have.
Well, so let me say this: it's going to take a guy who's ever been a head coach before to coach that division, because it's going to be tough. You're going to have your hand full. You're going to have a lot of good stabilized coaches there right now. They seasoned coaches. They got at least 3 years or better in that division. So yeah, you're going to need another seasoned coach to come in and do something. But of course, you have to get rid of. You probably going to have to be looking for letting Kyler Murray go. Maybe not next year or the year after, because I don't see a lot of good quarterbacks in my opinion coming out of the draft this year.
Yeah, which actually brings up an interesting thing. Just going back to the Steelers real quick. I mean, I think there's a legit shot. I think what they're saying in Pittsburgh now, Brian Flores is the head runner, the lead guy right now. Now, the only thing that they might have is because the quarterback situation is so bad, they're actually interviewing. Actually, Mike McCarthy's going in for an in-person. He had a phone interview. He's going in for a second interview. The idea is if they can get Aaron Rodgers to stay one more year, because they don't have a lot of confidence in this new draft, this next quarterback class that's coming out, they might want to wait till 27. So almost kind of use him as baits to get Rodgers to play. He didn't have a bad year. I think he was 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But if you can get those guys teamed back up together, apparently they have a decent relationship off the field. And so that's also like a thing. Plus, McCarthy's a Pittsburgh guy, born and raised in Pittsburgh. So again, but the only thing with him, he's 62 years old. So that's kind of the thing. So I think Flores is probably one, and then they got the Shula and Steelhouse from the Rams, and then but McCarthy might be in that mix also. It all depends if they want to, how if they want to keep Aaron Rodgers around for one more year, because apparently the team likes him, and but it's up to him if he wants to come back or not. But I think they're open to the possibility. But Coach, your thoughts on again the current coaching carousel right now for these open positions that are still left open? Who do you think may land where with the position still open, especially for the Ravens? And I think Cleveland, I think they still need their head coach, and obviously the Steelers.
I mean, I agree with everybody. I'm surprised that this many coaches. It's probably the largest number of coaches ever, changing in the same season since modern football.
It's tied for 10.
Okay, so but I disagree with him. As a coach, right? I believe, and there's some exceptions, but as a coach, you have to favor to your needs of the team. So a team, and I'll say this, a team that can get a offensive-minded coach for a young quarterback, that's a world. Even that's how Josh Allen was so good, because he had an offensive-minded quarterback, right? And you get a great assistant to work the defense, because the defense takes care of itself. It's the offenses. That's why we see teams like the Jets. They can't have a good defense without a balanced offense. So they need a quarterback. They need a solid veteran. The Steelers, Brother Bennett, they too old. They need to draft young all around the board. I would go with another quarterback because you got a new coach. I'll say go on trade for Shedeur Sanders. Let him get over there with Aaron Rodgers. And I think they can build from that. But I like the fact that you come in as a coach, because sometimes that's what teams need, a whole new spark, a whole new voice, because the coordinator going from the Packers, the coordinator, what job he get? The one from the Packers, he's going to Get
He's
the
going to
first
Miami.
pitch he showed. Yeah, he going to
Yeah,
Miami.
yeah, he got to Miami. Yeah,
And
happily.
so,
Yeah,
because you remember Sean McVay was young and no experience, and he turned it around. So I think sometimes it's just a spark. Coach, I would take a job. Call me. You the defensive line coach. Brother Benny, you the strength coach. Dante, you the offensive line coach. We can turn the team around.
I got you.
I heard that. Well, I think I think there's certainly a movement towards younger coaches, certainly coaches under 50. Like I said, to me that's the biggest strike against McCarthy. He would certainly be the oldest hire in quite a number of years, but guys typically don't, when you want to call these guys old school or what have you. But I think certainly there is a youth movement to get younger coaches under 50 years old, certainly in the league. And I think certainly with the Rams and the 49ers with their additions, I think everyone's just trying to, it's like a monkey see, monkey do league. So it's like everyone's trying to get that young, new mind that's going to be innovative in the NFL. So I think that's always something that's going to, it's always something that's going to be there. But let's go over some of these games. Certainly the big one, certainly from the weekend, the Broncos and the Bills. So obviously came down to the wire. And obviously you had a situation where, why am I not sharing? I'm sorry, guys. Share. There we go. So again, unfortunately in this game, great game, right down to the wire, went to overtime. Unfortunately, Bo Nix suffers a season-ending ankle injury. And if I understand, he did it on a kneel down. So I mean, it's so he's out, and so again, Jarrett Stidham's going to be starting in the championship game on Wednesday. I mean, on this weekend. So again, we'll get into predictions a little bit later, but certainly very good game. But the big issue from this game is certainly Josh Allen. Now again, we see on the right side, you see his playoff record. He's come close a lot of times. There were a lot of times he had Patrick Mahomes in his way, and he couldn't beat him. But this time you figure, again, no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson. This was supposed to be the year that he did it, but unfortunately he had the turnovers, 4 turnovers in total, 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles in the game. And you can see he was very emotional after the game. But nonetheless, it's like, you had a window of opportunity, and then again, you saw the upheaval that happened in the aftermath of that with McDermott getting fired. So, is the window closing certainly for Allen? Is he overrated? I've been pretty critical of Lamar, saying not stepping up in big games, and I can't say that in a lot of these games that Josh Allen didn't step up, especially that game back 3 years ago, that 36-42 game that just went, back and forth with Mahomes. It was like, so it's not like he hasn't played well. My thing with Lamar is in a lot of those big games, he didn't play very well. But this game here, it was a mixed bag. Yes, he had 3 touchdowns, but again, 4 turnovers. So again, criticism of Lamar Jackson. Hank, you want to start with this one here? Is he overrated? Is it what do you think is the issue or the problem here? Is it him, the player? Is it support system? What do you think is going on with him? And do you think he'll ever win or get to a Super Bowl at this point?
You said Lamar Jackson?
No, I'm saying Josh Allen.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying we compare. I'm saying we can in other shows. We're critical. At least I am. Dante and Shawnee, they're the Lamar Jackson fan club. I'm saying, you're 2-time MVP.
That's a fact. That's a fact. They are
2-time MVP and all this stuff. But again, in big games, does he come up with the big plays or the big moments? And but again, we got to be critical of Josh Allen. Yes, he's an MVP. But again, just looking at this record here, he hasn't always showed up in big games. In this last game, they had an ample chance to win. People talking about that catch in overtime. Now, again, according to the rules, that was an incomplete pass. Now, again, I know, Dante, I hope this doesn't hurt you too much, but I'm sure you go back to that Green Bay-Dallas game and your guy, number 88, stretching out, for a play, and they said it wasn't a catch, and that just left Dallas fans just all in a tizzy that year. So, and And also, you can speak to that. Did you think it was a catch, or not? But just how do you rate Josh Allen at this point? Let's start with Hank first, get his in, and then we'll go to Dante, and then we'll go to Coach.
So on that controversial call, as we all see, I thought it was considered an interception, but I thought his knee was down, and they still called it. But if you go to the game that I watched on Sunday night, we had the same call, and that's not what we got on the same type of play. It's kind of funny how these referees call these games, but it is what it is. As far as Josh Allen, the thing about Josh Allen is his defense was suffering all season. He has no defense. He had a bunch of guys at the receiver position who nobody knows about, cast off. That didn't help the situation. Overrated. I don't know. I mean, I don't even call Lamar overrated, so it's kind of hard to call Josh Allen overrated. Underachieving, yes. I believe he has been underachieving so far in his career, and he has a lot of work to do. Now it's going to set him back because he's going to have to deal with a new coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new game plan, how that's going to all work out. So that's going to set him back a year or two with that situation. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I think it's going to really matter on who they hire. Now, what I'm hearing is they're looking at Dabo.
Going back to Buffalo, yeah.
Yes, a former offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, former head coach of the Giants. I don't know about that. To me, I don't think that's a good move. I just think you need to put in a whole new system and let them go from there and grow from there. But sometimes when you desperate times calls for desperate measures. And when you had 10 job openings, you got to take what you could take. So I just think I just think he's underachieved so far in his career. That's just my opinion about it.
Gotcha. Dante?
I'll say as far as Josh Allen, I can say he's overhyped and he's oversympathized for. And he definitely is underachieved, but he's a hell of a talent. But it's just sometimes when you're talking about the best of the best, sometimes you just need to do just a little bit more, or do something just a little bit better. Because one thing I will say is, while his playoff performances, and sometimes they've been really good, there are been some stinkers. Like this last one was one, and then that one against where they had a prime opportunity, and the Bengals just came up and what did he score? 10 points.
Yeah, 27.
Like games like that, it's like that one, and I want to say just early Josh Allen, where before we knew, some just knew they knew, but I would say the game against the Texans was just sloppy. He has those moments where he could just get sloppy with the football, and that obviously that cost him in the game on Saturday. But it's just like with an opportunity like that, where it's like obviously the quarterbacks don't play against each other, but as far as the teams that you lead, there's a certain level of potency what a team does and does not have. Like obviously we saw, hey, I gave my defense the ball back with 13 seconds. I still lost that game. So, but on the other side, you got a Bo Nix who played probably one of the better games of his life. So I know it sucks for him to get hurt, but it's like you've got to find a way to win that game. Mm-hmm. And that's just one of those things where it's like that's one that they have to have a knock on them. But I need the national media. I need media like us that's grounded with the people to be like, hey man, it's okay to chastise them, because they were over here just making it. Even the NFL's like, oh, you got to feel for Josh Allen. You got to feel for. Oh man, I was going to cuss. That gonna make me feel for a mofo with 4 turnovers. No, he needs to be sat down and be like, what the hell are you doing? Protect my football.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. I mean, if you're going to have a criticism of McDermott, I mean, again, it's like less than like 20 seconds left in a half, and you go, you're being super aggressive on the road. I mean, just take a knee and go in and regroup.
Yeah.
But you give up 3 points at the half. So again, if you want to be critical of the coach in that regard, I could see that. But at the same time, Josh, you still got to take care of football. So again, I can't bail you out of that one. The game with Mahomes a few years ago, where it was just going back and forth like that, and it got down to who had the ball last. I can get that. But I can't explain away this one. I mean, and if you were most left of the game, you should have been, because I definitely think you let some people down. But Coach, your thoughts on Josh Allen? You think he's overrated, underachieving? Is he on the base on the, him and Lamar on the same level? I mean, what's your thoughts on his prospects for the future?
I think it's all three of them, man. Sometimes he's overrated, and every time they get to talking about MVP, he doesn't come through. You know what I'm saying? Underachiever, we can say that. Him and Lamar probably neck and neck. You know, MVPs, same division. They win about the same games every year, 1 or 2 differences. They both usually go out in the divisional round. You know, been in the league same year, amount of years, 2017. So they neck and neck in that East. You know, I thought it was Josh's time this year to get a Super Bowl now that Patrick wasn't there, but I thought he was pressing too much. He's trying to make too big of plays, but they also had one of their top receivers out too. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. He is who he is, man. He's a great playmaker. Like I said, football's pretty when the weather's warm. And then when the weather changes, you know, you have to be precise with your execution in the NFL. Any slip up, like we saw a catch, and you don't grab it tight enough, you know, it only intensifies. So
yeah, and it's just amazing how how you looked at just based on one play. I mean, Bo Nix drops that dime for the go ahead score. Had he not gotten hurt, he would be all the praise. Or if that ball was ruled a catch, they go ahead, they kick a field goal and win. Then Josh, and that would have been back-to-back wins on the road because he did certainly lead the team back against the Jaguars, and that was a very competitive game, and he was able to lead them back. So it just goes to show. I mean, sometimes these things come down to one play can just totally change how you're perceived by people in the sport. But speaking of another matchup, certainly from the weekend. So I know Hank. I'm sure this hurt Hank. And again, I was truly I know going back and forth with you. I really want the Bears to win. They got home field. You're in those elements. I don't trust a lot of these warm weather teams in the elements like Coach was talking about. They had certainly an ample chance to win the game. They had first down, I think, on the other side of the 50. Again, bad throw by Caleb. Again, I can't defend that. 3 interceptions. I can't defend that kind of action, but the game was there to be had. But again, Hank, this is your chance. I'm sure you talked about it on your show, but your chance to talk about the game, talk about Caleb, whatever you want to spin on Caleb. The floor is yours to have your commentary on the game.
Well, the bad thing is, if you look at this, we only had 3 penalties in that game. And that's not what's been happening to us damn near all season. We're damn near in the double digits in every game of penalties. We only had 3 penalties. But we had 3 turnovers. You can't do that. You can't do it. And so, unfortunately, the quarterback that Mr. Bennett loves to and drinks his bathwater through a straw has let us down once again. I told you, every time Mr. Bennett sends me a message, I say we won despite of Caleb. We won despite of Caleb, and it was tough being at the game and watching it all go down in that cold stadium on that great Sunday night. Little things that really hurt us. You know what I'm saying? The defense, has been doing a lot of bending but don't break. Man, they played great. They played great that night. Look, he was, I think Stafford ended like 9 for 20, 29 or something. I think that's went on. Let me take it back. He was like, I think he was 9 for 29. I think that's what he ended up. I don't know for sure. I don't want to
think so. Yeah,
20 for 29. He ain't missed too many. He ain't missed too many.
No, he missed a lot.
Stafford.
Yes, it was bad. He didn't have a good game at all. He threw no touchdowns. He had 2 rushing. They had 2 rushing touchdowns. Of course, fortunate for them, they didn't. We didn't have no turnovers. Now he fumbled, but they ended up recovering it. There's little things, man, like that hurt us. you know, you could see in that game that Caleb started to feel himself after he got that first down. He, you know, put his head down, got the first down. Then he ran on a big 3rd and 8. On a 3rd and 8, ran one. Of course, he got that at miraculous touchdown pass to Cole Kmet. So there was little things that he did, and you could see him start feeling himself. But on 2nd and 8 in overtime, as soon as we score, we win because the Rams had the opportunity. We deferred it.
Right.
They had the ball, and we 3 and out. 3 and out, man. You couldn't ask for much more than that. 3 and out, and so we go down and score, we win. But 2nd and 8, he decided he wanted to go for the gusto, like he normally does, instead of taking what's given him. And the bad thing about it, during that time, he did a lot of that, taking what the defense gave him, and he just, for some reason, he stopped doing that and deciding to go down the field for gusto. Why? Methodically go down until we had plenty of time. We needed another 10 yards to get in a field goal range, maybe another 20 yards to guarantee the field goal, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted another highlight pass in order to win the game. That nickname is getting to him. He's reading his clippings, and it showed in that game. Instead of going to Cal McGunn guy and get 5 yards and be 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2, or he probably could have got the first down if he made one juke move. He didn't do that. He wanted the big time pass. Now people say, well, you know, DJ pulled up on a play. That could be the case, but why would you throw it down there when he's double teamed? Why? It was overtime. If this was in the first quarter, second quarter, where we got a chance to come back and make up for that, okay, cool. But it's just overtime. As soon as you score, you win. That's not what he do. So I just think he's got a lot of work to do. People say he's young. Yeah, you're right. And so normally I give the quarterback 3 years. So next year, I don't expect these type of mistakes, but we'll see how that goes. We got some free agents that we need to take care of. Sign 24 to be exact, and we $4 million right now with the salary cap. So some guys ain't gonna make it, and I understand it as happens. Some guys are gonna have to restructure their contract. I understand that too. But I think Caleb really needs to have a come to Jesus moment, and hopefully his coach is as soon as he get the opportunity in April to get back with him and get back to work with him, that he heeds what the coach has to say to him. I'll leave it there, guys.
Got you. Well said, Coach. Your thoughts on the and on Caleb Williams in particular?
I just wanted to ask you went to the game. You say you was at the game?
Yes, I was at the game.
Salute, man. Lake Michigan, you was right there, man. I know it was breezy out there, wasn't it? Yes. I mean,
Caleb just wants to kickoff kick.
Yeah. I you know, again, even to what he said, Caleb, he wants to be the Superman of the Bears. He wants to be that guy because it seems like he's always looking for the dramatic pass. You know, and in the playoffs, you ain't got no room for error. Look, again, in the playoffs, the defenses are a lot better. That's why they in the positions that they are. The teams are a lot tougher, and you don't have those margins of error when it comes to the playoffs. So that's where he has room to grow, like he said. I think the Bears, of course, they had a season probably none of us would have predicted. But I think I'll say this in reference to them being over the salary cap. The Bears don't even pay nobody. That was one of their biggest things over the last 25 years. So I'm trying to figure out who they're paying where they over the salary cap. But I don't know, man. I think that they have a good shot of having a good season next year. And I think with another year of Ben Johnson and Caleb could have an MVP year, and the Bears could be right back where they're at. Yeah, he can paint nails, and they go like it too.
Dante, your thoughts on the game, or either on the game or on Caleb Williams?
Well, on the game, I mean, Caleb Williams showed you. First of all, I want to say, as far as everybody dumped on him last year, I'm glad I sell my stock on him. He actually got a competent coach that can coach him and develop him. But what I will say is he gave you the good and the bad. The 3 turnovers, the one play where he throws the miraculous pass, all of the scrambling. But then, like you said, I agree with you. That is a honest criticism. hey man, we need to take something else there instead of going for that play. And I would say that's going to take time to grow because you were fortunate to have the three turnovers, to have the turnovers that you had, the two that you already had, and then you got the third one with still being in the game. But what I will say as well is I am a person that I'm about analytics. For my channel, Sports Numbers and Culture, a lot of the numbers I'm talking about are the inside the numbers, the hey, what's your probability? And I'm a go for it guy. When it turns to the playoffs, when it turns to January, I'm a little bit, hey, we're down here. I know if we don't get it, they got to drive 90 yards. Sometimes I need that points. And I would say Ben Johnson, as a first time head coach, when he's in that situation, he has to grow from that too. He has to grow from that. And I would say that the one thing that does concern me that the Bears didn't win is they had a lot of those games to where they were like, 1 point close games, and those were coin flip games. If you look at it every year when they do the, hey, this team's in the playoffs, this team's out, a lot of teams that end up flipping. I'm talking. I'm talking. Okay, give me a hug. Okay, a lot of the teams that ended up flipping are the teams that played those really close games and then they fall the other way. As the Chiefs literally missed the playoffs, those close games, they flip the other way. So you want to get that opportunity. And if you lose it because Stafford comes down, possible MVP, and beats you, but you don't want to lose it off of a turnover like that. So I agree with you on that. And I would say is he has a lot more room to grow. And the room for saying, hey, I want to go for that go ball, that big play, the knockout punch, that's a gift and a curse. Next year and the year after, hey, take it when you need it. Take it when it's there. Don't force it in that situation. But that was probably the best game of the weekend. Like that,
Gotcha.
like man, that was exciting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this out certainly the Denver game with the
Well,
Bills.
The
That was
Denver,
nice too.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Very
Denver,
competitive.
that was just man, I can't get over like just sloppiness of
Yeah.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, gotcha. Shout out to our guy Anton in the building, the $5 super chat. Hank, salute for going to the game and dealing with the elements. Sucks that you have to witness. See, everyone's calling it a trend. I guess I don't know. Maybe I just go back to the days where it takes a couple years to develop a QB. You look at Caleb Williams' numbers. Basically, 47 touchdowns and 13 interceptions in the first two seasons. It's like, we think this is like normal that guys are doing this, or as a rookie that you're coming out. So, again, he has quarterback rating 89, 60% passer for his career. Does he? Obviously that was a bad play to make at that time. He didn't have to make it. Just like those plays with Josh Allen, bad. And again, unfortunately, you can be defined as a career by making those kind of idiotic mistakes. But he has been a train wreck. People forget Peyton Manning's first year in the NFL. And he was able to overcome that. But it's like, unless he's perfect out the gate, are we being too critical of these young QBs, expecting them to perform at that level after his second year?
Yes.
But I agree with you. It was a bad play at the bad time when you had the momentum. You had everything going your way to win that game. There's no reason you shouldn't have. But are we being too critical? I just asked a question to the group here, just looking at these numbers. Not a bad resume here, but I get it. And certainly I don't even want to count the first year because Eberflus was a horrible head coach, in my view, Hank. You can speak to Eberflus more than I can. But imagine if he had Ben Johnson for 2 years instead of the one. So again, Hank, your thoughts on it? Are we being a little bit too? And I know I go back and forth to you, just palling around with you, but are you being a little bit too critical of him at this point, or do you think he can really? Because I'm thinking just my eye test. I think he's already the best quarterback for the Bears in the past 40 years. Because Jim McMahon wasn't that great of a quarterback. If anything, he was a game manager. And then the guy who got him to the Super Bowl a few years ago, I didn't think he was that good either. But, clearly he has a talent and skill set where he can certainly surpass those guys. But, is it a matter of just being patient with him? But, your thoughts, and then we'll go to the rest of the group.
Well, look, usually you're supposed to at least give your quarterback 3 years. So, I'm trying to give him a sense of a level of patience. But you have the opportunity of starting 34 games. So that's 2 years of experience that you started in the regular season. It's not including those two postseason experience you had. He made statements like telling our punter that we drafted, you won't have to worry about kicking much because I'm not gonna be out the field. When you make statements like that, you that cocky and all of that, there's gonna be a certain level of expectations you're gonna be expecting, especially from the fans and the fan base. So we'll see. I'm like I said, first year coach, so I'm gonna give him a pass because he got a brand new coach with a brand new offensive philosophy. He was under E. Flus was terrible. Should have been fired the year before, but we gave 5 more games for some reason in the following year, and that didn't pan out for us. But I'm gonna give him 1 more year, and I might not even give him a full season. I ain't gonna lie. So I might give him about 8 games. I think that'll be about damn near halfway, maybe 9.
So you think they're going to draft the quarterback
into the 3rd season? You said what?
You think they're going to draft another quarterback?
Hell no. We're not. We're not. We're not. But I'm just saying, I before the boo birds really gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? I say we win despite of them, and most of the games it seemed like that because he's always have to come back. Now that's what I don't like. I understand he did a lot of coming back from games, but I don't want that to be the mantra of our team. That I think that the chicken came home to roost, and that was really caught up with us. That we had to come back in these games, and you can't do it all the time. Sometimes your defense is not going to allow you to come back again. Sometimes you got to play in a shootout and win it, and he's got to be able to do it without making certain mistakes at certain times, especially the big moments, like that game. We watch it twice. We watched him against Green Bay, make a mistake. We watched him against the 49ers, make the same mistake. And we've seen it against the Rams, make the same mistake. Just couldn't get it done.
Yeah. Dante?
I do think one thing, we play the quarterbacks, we play them so soon. And we play them so soon because it's an advantage to have the quarterback on the rookie contract. And then we put the pressure on too much. Like you said, we may need to go back to the model of, hey, let a guy like maybe play half the season. Don't give it to him the whole way. Give him the whole season to start, but and just for more development. But that I would say we probably take it too harsh on him. And I said, Caleb, he's got to learn from those mistakes. He's got to go and do, like I know, like in basketball, to say, hey, you got to make X amount of threes if your jumpers are working. He needs to go look at all of his turnovers. Look at all of the turnovers that he's made, all the decisions and misball, and look at all those throws and see where your mechanics right, and just kind of get development. So this is where we're going to really find out if Ben Johnson, how good of a developer he is at the quarterback position, how he's going to cater the offense, how he's going to grow, and things like that. But I still think Caleb has a lot of opportunity to grow. I think with his talent level, he could be one of those guys you're looking at in the future in the MVP conversation. He has that kind of ability. It's just like you said, keeping some of the good plays or reducing a few of the risks and still going it. I know you said, and I look at the comment, I know you had mentioned that about quarterbacks normally don't go down on that. Well, that's just like, I would say Josh Allen came in with a terrible completion percentage, but he improved. There's things that like the guys that are the cream of the crop rise and they do get better. So I'm not really for that. Like, oh, he'll never really that's what's going to depend on how good your career is. So I don't. And I know you mentioned that why are we comparing him to Peyton Manning? When you were the number 1 overall pick, they compare you to the other number 1 overall picks. I'm by no means I'm a fan of Peyton Manning. I'm not saying that he's on that trajectory, but it's no problem with comparing like a number 1 overall pick. Like I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, he's still reckless. I saw the fumble halftime. I'm just talking about and mentioning the players getting better as far as their development. Like that's something that can be, he's still reckless. I'm talking about so he could hit the side of a barn completion percentage wise. Like him seeing that level of growth gives me faith and that's why he keeps getting guys drafted like the Josh Allen template. That's why they took the kid Anthony Richardson. It's like, hey, we got the physical tools. We'll figure everything else out. But then they saw, hey, he don't got that many starts. He doesn't have enough experience. And then they sat him down. So like it's a tricky thing developing the quarterbacks, and a lot of these teams suck at it.
Yeah, Coach, your thoughts on Caleb and his prospects? Too much, or is he on track? I mean, like I said, 47. I'll take 47 and 13 from any quarterback.
Let's stop it, man. Let's stop it, man. Matthew Stafford threw more interceptions than Caleb. Caleb just it's time and it's this decision making, and that gets better as you get your timing together at the quarterback, because that comes with great responsibility. And it's his second year. The Bears are 10 times better than they've been in the last 12 years, just in this short period of time, and with a new coach, a second-year quarterback. So, again, I think once he learns to read the defenses and not take so many risks, go ahead and take the sack or throw it away, I think they'll be all right. I think he's going to be okay. He's going to set records at the Bears. I think sometimes we too hard on the brothers, and we let these little scrub white boys, they drafting them first round with 10 games and making them starters. But that's the age of the quarterback. You're going to start early. You're the number one franchise pick. So, again, we're going to see, I think with him, the way he played, he's going to learn from it. In a year under Ben Johnson's system, if they draft right, but the Bears act like they don't want to spend no money, I think they'll be okay, because they don't go to free agency. They we just gonna get young players. I don't know how they over the lip. I want to know where they money. I'm gonna have to redo some research, see where they put their money to, because the last one that got $100-some million was what's his what's the little dude, man? He was a scrub, man. Jay Cutler. That was it.
Mm.
That was 10 years ago, but yeah, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
All right, what are you talking about? We just paid DJ Moore $120 million,
and that was it. How many other players? They ain't really got too many other people. That's what I'm saying. They don't pay a lot. It took them years to even do that, and that's a receiver. They're gonna be all right though.
Well, speaking of, again, more matchups from the weekend. So obviously you had Patriots pretty handily over the Texans. Again, Texans came in with one of their key receivers injured. But to me, the main takeaway, and again, if you do want to have a conversation about somebody who's truly regressing, I think you got to go to C.J. Stroud. Now, you've had Dante and Shawnee. They've been beating this drum for the last couple of years. He hasn't been the same. He's been in regression, and clearly in this game here, even in the Steelers game, basically he gave the Steelers every chance to win that game. It's just we couldn't do anything offensively. He had 3 turnovers in that game. Here, 4 interceptions, completely inept. And I found this graphic. I thought it was funny. That is he an imposter? Is he really the Oakland quarterback or the Vegas quarterback at this point? But yeah, I mean this you can make a case of. How long Stroud been with the Texans, Dante?
3 years.
I think this is his third year.
Third year. So again, this I would say this could be like Hank was saying earlier. I mean, at this point, I think you need to start making some decisions. Do you want to give him? Now I know Shawnee, he was talking about he would still give him an extension on his contract. I don't know if he'd get that big deal. But at this point, with this kind of performance, or the last couple of performances, because like I said, the Steelers game, he wasn't great in that game either. The defense was certainly carrying him, and I thought that as long as he could play competent, that the defense could actually carry them to the Super Bowl, especially now with Denver and Bo Nix out. I certainly thought that defense could go to Denver and possibly win a game also, just as long as he just played with it himself and run the football. But, I mean, he was so bad in this game. So again, Dante, your thoughts on should the Texans should they be thinking seriously about moving off from Stroud at this point? Can he get better, or is it he's just not the one? Your thoughts on Mr. Stroud?
What I say first and foremost, I would say you pick up the 5th-year option so that you have the opportunity to possibly look at finding his next spot out of town, because it may not work for him in Houston. We've seen not natural, but we've seen just him basically his career has cratered. It's his performance level.
Now, was there I don't follow Texas. Was there an injury that he came back from? Was there something dramatic that happened? I
don't follow them super closely,
Yeah,
but I would say I know he did have concussion. I know about the concussion, but before the concussion, there was bad play. I know it's been blamed on, I want to say the old offensive coordinator that at the time was a hot list for another job and all of that. He got fired last year, and they moved on from him. And now D'Amico Ryans is like, hey, I got rid of that guy. I know you got your big time target in Nico Collins. You got a decent tight end. They're still trying to get. They've never been able to get the offensive line together, which offensive line play in the league is shaky at times anyway. But a lot of this falls down to him just not. I mean, you can't turn the ball over that much. You can't make those type of decisions. And when it comes to playing the word complementary football, sir, a punt going back to the Ravens. Hey man, just don't let them score. And a punt, like in the old Parcells rule, a punt is not a negative play. Like you're not putting your team in a position to even punt the ball. Like this, like I would say Stroud for a guy that had a lot of ability, and it's crazy once again about we put the expectations on players. It's like him and Bryce Young have just swapped. Since their first year, they just swapped. Even Young he had to get set down and let Andy Dalton play, and then after he got benched, he was able to come back and play and be successful. I would say the Texans. I'm pretty sure their scouting department is doing a lot of scouting this upcoming fall on the upcoming quarterback class because you can't let a defense like this just go to waste. And when the NFL you have a short window, they've got to get a chance for him to figure it out, get the offensive line figured out, get the running game to be elite because he looks terrible.
Yeah. Hank, your thoughts on Stroud? Are you buying or selling?
Nah, I'm selling. Look, this might be a little controversial, but I think C.J. Stroud is overrated. I think he's a bust. They're just my opinion. I think he's a bust. I think he's done, man. I just wasn't impressed. I'm not impressed with no Ohio State quarterbacks. Never have, never will be.
Gee,
They
thanks.
always.
We got Will Howard who might be starting for the Steelers next year. So I need some.
Yeah, I think I need to play him just to see where he stands for real. But as far as C.J. Stroud, I just think, man, he's a bust. I really do. I just don't think he's going to pan out. Like, look, he had 5 interceptions the last game he played, 5 turnovers the last game he played, and I think he ended with like 3 INTs the game before that.
Yeah,
that's not going to cut it, man. And when he was out, guess who kept him afloat? Mills. He's not the guy, man. He's not that he can't win. He's got the defense. You can't ask for much more. You got the wide receivers. You can't ask for much more. Now, is a running back game that there's left to be desired there, but that won't be a problem. These running backs are a dime a dozen. You can find those anywhere. But I'm trying to figure out what's the excuse. D'Amico Ryan's a great coach, in my opinion. He's got everything he just don't have it between his ears, and he's not getting done. So I think he's a bust.
Wow. Our first bust card. Coach, is CJ Stroud, is he a bust? That's some. But again, this last couple games, or certainly, he's definitely been in a tailspin. So, you willing to classify him as that, or you think he can come back from this?
That's why I always say coaching is important. Young quarterback, it's hard to make the right decision without an offensive-minded head coach. You can see it in the players that are successful. But I don't think so. I think he was pressing in the games, in the playoffs. It does heighten the intensity. I think he was just pressing. His star receiver was out, and it seemed like at times when they were putting the blitz on him, he was just trying to get rid of the ball because in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I might get hit and get another concussion. So I just look at things from that perspective. I think he's going to get his extension. But if that could be it, but again, I think they're going to need, especially in the last few years, people think that they can just come in and should be able to, be well adjusted to the NFL. The greatest quarterbacks in our history took them a few years to adjust to the game because of timing, but I don't know, man. I think it's too early to say he's a bust, because we saw it last year. Daniels started out strong, and this year they struggled. So it's just part of the game and growth of it. Year 3, year 4 usually tell who's doing their homework, because your playbook is probably thicker than the telephone book. So it's going to come down to who's doing their homework. And I think that their NFL is looking to get coaches that can really turn up the quarterback play overall. So
Gotcha. We got another $5 super chat from Anton. C.J. Stroud is yet another Ohio State quarterback who's a complete letdown. Yeah, I mean it's they don't have necessarily a good a record overall of producing NFL quality QBs. And again, I know Steelers have had a few of them, but yeah, we'll have to see that. But yeah, I think something's definitely wrong. Or does he even have does he even want to play football anymore? I understand he's got some passions outside the field, so maybe that might be the direction that he's going in. Last game, certainly from the weekend, I just want to mention, really, I don't have much to say because, I mean, the game was not a game from the start. I mean, 49ers were limping in to the game. They lost their tight end, and it really wasn't much of a contest. They were dominant in all phases of the game, and so there's really not much to comment on. But again, once again, it's like the 49ers the last few years, just like they go into these divisional and championship games with nothing. I remember the game they played a few years ago against the Eagles, and I don't think they even had a quarterback. And so they were just trying to run a bunch of option plays or whatever just to get in. So again, they're just too beat up, Seahawks look pretty good, but I don't know if it's, I games like this, I can't necessarily judge on, like the Seahawks look so formidable, just given how bad the 49ers were. But, I didn't want to spend too much time on this game here, but if anyone has a comment, certainly on this game in particular, you can speak now.
I got one. My hate watch is complete for the playoffs. I can now watch the playoffs and just whatever happens, happens. And I know people love to talk about the Cowboys, but just your reminder that it's been 31 years since the 49ers won a Super Bowl. I know they've gotten close, but close, as Brandy says, almost doesn't count. And so this is 31 years for the 49ers. I thoroughly enjoyed them getting BTA, belt to ass. And I don't know how good the Seahawks either, but I know they're better than the 49ers.
Gotcha.
Real quick, I think we underestimate the Seahawks. Again, Seahawks don't seem like that big draw of a team, and people underestimating them this year because they have one of the best defenses, and we've seen that they have one of the best quarterbacks over the last 2 years, which is odd. Where he started, remember?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was C.J. Stroud a few years ago, and then he found that niche. I think a lot of time is system and coaching. Who's doing their homework. But the 49ers, they too soft anyway. They look good in the California sun, but they get too soft. You pop McCaffrey a few times, it's over. Because that's what they go to is. So,
yeah. Gotcha. Hank, any comments before I move
on? No, I mean, like I said, I just think they probably want to be looking to move on. Now, I would give him one more year, and this is it, though. I give him this last year, and the only reason I would give him one more year is because.
Hang on, who are you talking about? Purdy? Who are you talking about in particular?
Oh, are we talking about Purdy? I'm still talking about CJ.
Well, just the Seahawks, the 49ers. I'm just saying the game was so dominant. I didn't have a lot of commentary on the game. I just know the 49ers were pretty beat up going into the game, and so again, I didn't pick them to win there. But said if you had any comments on this game in particular. We can do that. We can move on to our predictions.
That game, I'm sorry. That Seattle game, man, it was bad. I stopped watching it about the end of the second quarter. I was done. And they made the 49ers look so pitiful. Mm-hmm. And it's the funny thing about it, I'm like, dude, when the Bears played this 49ers, man, he was throwing all type of touchdowns. He looked like he looked like a child out there. Looked like a little league football player out there amongst them men. I like the Seahawks defense. I'm a big fan of great defense, and they played it. And so they put pressure on this man. They got a lot of injuries, especially on the defense, the 49ers, yes. But some reason offense couldn't get it going. So I'm not surprised by the results of this game. I didn't expect it to be a blowout. I did think the Seahawks would win, but I didn't see a blowout like this was going to come, man. It was just surprising. It's very disappointing. I'm sure the 49ers fans are feeling some type of way. Saleh might be glad he got a job because they might have wanted to fire his ass after that 41-6 game. They should have ran his ass up out of town after that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously he got the job with the Titans, so he's new head coach Saleh. So we'll see if he can turn that team around as well. But let's go to the championship weekend. So obviously we got the Patriots and Broncos at 3, and again the Rams and Seahawks at 6:30. We just kind of go into our picks now. Again, I mean, obviously a tough break for the for Denver. At this point, I don't give them a shot. I think I certainly would have taken the Broncos with Bo Nix. I'm not sure if Stidham can certainly get them over the hump. I'm picking the Patriots to win this game. And then as far as the Rams, again, this is the third matchup. The last time they played, that was just everything broke for it's like the Rams had control of that game, and everything just broke right for the Seahawks to get back in the game. So I think that game is going to be very competitive. I think you had a chance to get rid of Stafford in the last game, and you kind of let him go. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I think the over-under is, I would say, is at least going to be 50 points in this game. I may pick the Rams in an upset over the Seahawks to get to a Super Bowl. So again, I'm going with the Patriots, and I'm going with the Rams on Championship Sunday. Coach, what are your picks?
Oh man, just of course with the injury, man, I'm gonna go with the Patriots, and I would have went with the Patriots even if he was available to play. It's just unfortunate. Two cold weather teams. It's gonna be a dogfight. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, though. I really do. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. Seattle and LA. I think Seattle's gonna come out with the victory. But again, I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I think both of them gonna be under. I'll say 28 and under. Well, that's high, but 20 points for both games. No more than 20 for the winning team.
Gotcha. Hank, your picks. I think you muted. Hank, I think you muted, Hank.
Yeah. I don't think Denver has a chance, man. They started a guy who was 1-3 the last time he got to play again. He played 3 years ago. Stidham's best days are way behind him. He's not at Penn State no more. It means you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. So I don't see them even winning. I know it's the game is in Denver, and Denver does have a decent defense, but I don't see it. And as far as the Rams, yeah, they look bad against our defense. So I couldn't imagine what it's going to look like against Seattle. So I think we're going to have a rematch Super Bowl of 2015 with the Patriots and the Seahawks.
Gotcha. Dante, your picks?
Hold on. I saw a comment that somebody said the 49ers have been in the Super Bowl in the 21st century. Can I say that? I can say my team has not been, but they also haven't won. Let's focus on have you won. Let's get it. Let's focus on have you won. I know the point that I made, but I'm going to talk for my team. I'm not going to diss my team, but no, we haven't. Congrats to them for being 31 years since they won a Super Bowl. It's been 30 for us. But going on to the teams that are still relevant and playing, obviously the Patriots, I think they're going to win that game pretty handily. I think it'll be low scoring, but they're going to try to muck it up because they know they're limited in quarterback. And just simply, I know Sam Darnold has done a lot better. I know he won that close game, but at times this year, that's Matthew Stafford. You can make an argument he's the MVP. I think he has a bounce back game, and even though he's playing on the road again, I think they're gonna come out for the victory in a close game against the Seahawks. But that last game was really close that they played. Like you said, Mr. Bennett, it was probably one of the best games of the NFL year, and I think we're gonna get another version of that with the Rams coming out on top.
Gotcha. Yeah. We got another $5 super chat from that same fan. Just give me rollback. But we appreciate the super chat stuff. I was so tired of watching the 49ers Seahawks, I changed to watch the college hockey. Got to mention hockey. Shout out to watch out Anton. He's going to be launching a YouTube channel shortly where he's going to be talking about hockey on all levels, NHL, world, you name it. But there's certain guys who follow hockey, African Americans who follow hockey. He's a big hockey fan. So again, look forward to his show coming up where he discusses the sport. And he also has his picks for it. So again, he got the Broncos and the Seahawks. Interesting, pulling the Broncos for an upset. I can't see it's this isn't Jeff Hostetler coming off of the Giants. I just don't see that happening in this game. But moving on to again the game on Monday night. moving to the college game now. So you have the national championship. Congratulations to Indiana, not known as a football powerhouse, but they achieved the first, I think this is the first 16-0 season, if I'm not mistaken. And so certainly a very entertaining game in the second half. First half really wasn't a lot going on, but I think things certainly picked up in the second half and went down to a final possession. And certainly in the game, block punt for a touchdown, I think was a big difference in the game certainly for Indiana. And Carson Beck, again, not his best game. And again, through that ball at the end, shouldn't have thrown that. I'm sure, but both of these guys are going to be prospects. I don't see Beck no more than like a third or fourth rounder, but clearly Mendoza is going to be number one. And I thought that play on 4th and 5, I thought that was obviously one of the plays of the game, and he showed me a lot of guts. They showed his arm after his arm was like all black and blue after the game and whatnot, so he definitely put it on the line. For that game. So again, pretty entertaining game in the second half, and the best thing of all, I didn't have to listen to Michael Irvin at the end of the game. So he's been acting a fool as of late. But Coach, your thoughts on the game if you had a chance to watch? I thought certainly the second half was pretty entertaining. But I think Mendoza, he definitely stepped up in the big moments.
No, man, I definitely watched the game, man. I just believe that it was always Indiana's season to lose, championship to lose. Just the way they played, their demeanor, because in this area they did a lot of interviews with the players, and the players didn't seem like the moment was too big for them. All of them seemed to be focused leading up to the game. So, I don't know. I thought it was a good game, until it broke, because I thought Miami put up a good fight. And I thought they had a chance to win too, but it just seemed like it was just Indiana's game to win. I think they topped Miami. Miami had a 15-0 season, and so it's ironic that they playing the team that had that season. But yeah, man, Mendoza, he'd probably be number one. He's 27 years old, ain't he? Down to 30. He old. He been in the league. He been in college for 6 years, I think. So yeah, he should be ready. But. Salute to Indiana, man. They showing how to celebrate.
Gotcha. Hank, your thoughts on the game if you had a chance to watch?
Yes, I did watch the game. I was rooting for Indiana because they nothing but a bridge away from us here in Kentucky. So definitely rooting for them. My son has some ties to him. He got the opportunity to go to the Indiana Penn State game last year. Mm-hmm. One of his teammates' father's alumni that played at Indiana, so he got to go see him, and they had a big watch party at his school. So I was rooting for him, for him. So I'm glad they won. But like First said, they are the ages of a lot of NFL players. I mean, but that's what the NIL is about. They're able to get this money. They can stay in college as long as they could possibly can. And with that being said, he's able to benefit. Look, that guy's a good coach, man. I don't know if a lot of y'all know anything about him, but y'all missing out on him. If it did, a lot of teams miss out on him. And Indiana's one of those programs that they had to take a chance on a coach. As such as a small school, they can't go and take a coach from one major program, tell them come over to Indiana, coach. You can't do it. So they got to find these up and coming coaches, and they found the right guy who developed guys. Even had some of his former JM. The James Madison players playing for him. So shout out to them for that, man. I like this. It was a great story for them to win, playing against Miami, who's another historical team as far as the college football is about. But I was just happy for Indiana. So,
gotcha. Dante.
What I say is Mendoza definitely. Miami tried to be chippy with him. They tried to hit him. They pushed it to the line. He even pushed it over. One of the plays where he bloodied his lip. That probably should have been a penalty. But I like the rough physical football the way we got in the first half, and then some of the scoring happened. Got some big plays. And Carson Beck, he was a guy that you never thought he was. When he lost it, he was okay. When he lost it, just went all down. And they were literally playing and winning. I know we said this is a topic today in spite of him. And, when they needed him to go ahead and make a play to win the game, saw what he did. He just had a guy that you being nice. I think he is a 6, 7, 5 through 7 type of guy projection, just because he just doesn't have the ability. I don't think, but he looks the part. But I'll say as far as Mendoza, I mean, good thing he was black and blue. He can show that he can take some hits because that's what he's gonna get when he's going to Vegas. It's gonna be rough for him. So he's already prepared for that. But salute to Indiana and what they've done as a straight up basketball school, being able to flip it in the NIL era, and being able to get that roster for the guys from James Madison. And I want to say in his press conference when they asked him, one of my favorite quotes from Coach Signetti, he said, "Hey, what are you going to tell a recruit? When they ask it about you, in the battle, he's going to say, 'Hey, I win. Google me.'" And like that quote is going to live forever. Now, especially now that he's a national champion. I don't know how long their reign is going to be. I know in the transfer portal they got a quarterback from TCU, Josh Hoover. So he's a veteran guy. They're going with the veteran model, and I would think at some point, hey, they're going to continue to get guys, and then Mark Cuban, who's an Indiana alum, is back in some of the NIL stuff. So I don't think I don't think it'll be a flash in the pan. I'm not going to say they're going to be in the playoffs every year, but they did make it back-to-back seasons. But shout out to them. What is this, 3 in a row for the Big Ten?
Yeah. I want to raise this point because again, man, he is saying no one cares about the unless the SEC is involved. Is the SEC, are they the dominant? Big Ten, Michigan, Ohio State, and now Indiana. Are they the dominant conference in college football at this point? Is the reign of the SEC over?
I don't think
you guys'
over.
thoughts on that?
I don't think the reign for the SEC is over, but you got to give the Big Ten its props that they've been able to win it 3 straight times. If this was the SEC, we would damn still be hearing about it. And I'm still, as far as rooting for Texas, it's still kind of weird being like, hey, the SEC, but it's just kind of like, hey, I do think there's been some obviously some complete misses. Saban leaving hurt Alabama a lot. They're still in the playoffs, but I think you never see a game like that if Saban's there. And it's just that the teams, I would say the teams, as far as transfer portal and NIL, the Big Ten has done a better job of doing that this far to win a championship. And You got Georgia still Georgia, and you got some of the other teams still hovering around. I think Texas has the opportunity to be really good, but right now you just got to get the crown to the Big Ten and see. And I know the SEC is going to do all that they can to catch up.
Yeah, I don't know if that's. I don't know if it's boring. I mean, obviously Indiana blew out Alabama, so I mean, it doesn't get more boring than that. But Coach, your thoughts on again SEC? Is their reign over? Is the Big Ten where it's at in college football at this point?
I mean, if we go by just recent, I would say Big Ten is the king right now, just because of national championships. But I also think the SEC is always going to be fighting for a championship. So one team in the SEC, because they, it's just the way it is. They next year it could be someone else from the SEC. Indiana, I don't know how they're going to play out or being in the top, but Ohio State's going to come back strong. So I would say Big Ten just for right now, just because of the last 3 years. But like Dante said, man, the NIL is going to continue to change the market. It's going to continue to change teams, because believe me, brother, I hope we'd all be, if we started 2 years here and we had some more eligibility, go get $2 million somewhere else, I would think that we would transfer. And I'll say this just about the NIL, how it's messing up the players, right? When you go to college, after your first 2 years, you start getting into your major classes. A lot of your credits don't transfer over. So you won't graduate in 4 years. You might have to stay an extra year or two because you can't transfer over those college credits. So just be careful. If they're going to offer you the money at your school, you might want to stay. Your nieces and nephews. A degree is the same unless you go into Harvard, Yale, Princeton. You can go to any school and get the same value in your degree. Just depend on your major.
Yeah, Coach Bird, what I say with you on that, to piggyback on that, and I've heard different broadcasters like that I listen to, like Mighty Jones, saying that some of these guys are doing it wrong. They're getting some extra money, but the value is staying at this school and getting the connection with these opportunities. People laughed at Quinn Ewers for staying at Texas because he was there. No, he didn't start there, but he stayed there a number of years. Graduated. He said, "I didn't want to lose those relationships chasing a dollar going to another school." And so now when he goes, he gets to always remember it as a Longhorn. And so when it comes to those big money donors and those people for connections, oh, hey, I heard you doing this. Let me help you with that. And opens up more doors for you. Now you got 4 schools in 4 years. You don't really, you're a mercenary. You got the bag, but long term, being able to go, what if you are Heisman good? Like Mendoza's good, but what if you're Heisman good at an Alabama, but you're not good enough for the pros? To have maybe but a cup of coffee, but you can go and get that dealership. You can go and get those relationships there. And I think guys are going to have to learn how to do it right. And I say high school recruiting wise, they're going to have to figure out how they're going to navigate their way with the NIL and the transfers and fighting over, fifth year seniors and you're trying to fight for snaps.
Gotcha. Hank, any thoughts before we move on to last block of the night?
No, I mean, look, I just think, I assume we're still talking about Indiana, right?
Yeah, or Big Ten in general, like just the power of the Big Ten over the SEC, because you got Jay in the chat. I guess he's a big SEC guy, and he says basically that the Big Ten is boring and whatnot. But again, we've seen the last 3 national champions have been from the Big Ten. And we saw even in this playoff here, very dominant wins over SEC opponents. So, your thoughts on the power of the Big Ten over the SEC at this point, or do you still think SEC is where it's at?
Yeah. Look, let me say that the Big Ten had a nice run, and that's cool, but I don't think it's going to continue. Unfortunately for them, they're top heavy. The Big Ten is top heavy, and that it is what it is. And normally your 2 teams is Michigan and Ohio State. That's what it is. It's a drop in the pan. That's why it's a great story for Indiana, because they never won. They was all-time losing in college football ever.
Right.
And people forget that. I know it's easy to forget because the past 2 seasons they've been having a great run, but that's not typical. That's not normal for them. They're the team you score for homecoming. And looking forward to go to the dance after the game because we know we got this guaranteed win. We know everybody on the bench is going to get some run because we play in Indiana. That's what it was. Now, can it continue? I don't know. Can this coach continue to do what he need to do? Maybe. It's possible. But the teams normally with the tradition of winning is the Michigan and Ohio State. So they still going to be Ohio State, going to be Ohio State. Michigan going to be Michigan once they get the right coach in there, and I think they do. I like Willingham. I think he's a great coach.
He's a solid coach.
But as far as the SEC be fine. But you got to remember, SEC had a lot of job openings. I mean, as small as a conference they are, they had about 6. I want to say 5 to 6 job openings, and out of 16 teams, that's a lot of jobs that had to be accounted for. So they're gonna take their lumps. They've been taking it for the past 2 years because we gotta forget before Michigan and Ohio State won, Georgia did win the title. So it wasn't like they wasn't playing for a title, And we also got to remember SEC had 2 teams in the championship game playing for the title. So Big Ten has never done that as of yet. Now I'm not saying they can't, but they haven't done it yet. SEC has. So the SEC will be fine. They're gonna get them coaches in there, man. They're gonna get them established, and they'll keep getting better and moving forward. So I see somebody put Marcus Freeman. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Marcus Freeman in the NFL this year. The Bears looked at him. We interviewed him. I
thought he already said no, he didn't want to go because I think the Steelers were also interested in him.
Yeah, look, Mr. Bennett, you can't believe until all the coaching jobs are filled up. Anything can happen. Like the $1 Million Man said, everybody got a price.
Shout out. Old reference there. All right, we're moving into the last block of the night, gentlemen. Again, I know the last few weeks we talked a lot of football, but first and foremost, I must say congratulations on the MLB side. Congratulations to the class of 2026. So, again, Carlos Beltran, 9-time All-Star, 435 career home runs, 312 stolen bases, a WAR of 70 in the Hall. And then you also have Andrew Jones, longtime Brave, Again, some decent numbers as well. 434 home runs in his career. And last, we also have Jeff Kent. Certainly, pulling up his stats. None of these guys necessarily bat over 300 for their careers. And I'm not saying that's necessarily I'm not saying that's necessarily a requirement for the Hall of Fame. If you look at the voting, they were the top two vote casters. I think you hit the threshold. I think is 75%. I think for the Hall of Fame balloting, you have to get over that in order to get in. 75%. So again, these guys certainly got over that. Now Kent, he wasn't even on the BBWA ballot. He had to come in on a special ballot to get in. And you guys know I'm always talking about, Hall of Fame in any sport. I should be able basically to mention the name and be like, yeah. Like if we got to talk about it, I'm not sure if the guy's necessarily a Hall of Famer. But, these guys, again, I'm happy. Anybody who gets into the Hall, I'm happy. But I know we've been talking about with the NBA and some of those guys getting in, and a lot of these guys getting on the first ballot. Like, I mean, to this day, I think there's certain guys who don't belong in the Hall of Fame on first ballot. But I think that with the league, though, you got a lot of guys, and you see some of the guys on this list here, Manny Ramirez, Alex Rodriguez. I mean, clearly better players. But I think that the MLB Hall of Fame, again, because I guess the steroid era, there's a lot of guys who were Hall of Famers before it wasn't even an issue that are not there. So it's almost like they're picking like the second best players to get into the Hall at this point. So I think for a lot of these Hall of Fames, I don't care if it's NBA, I don't care if it's MLB or NFL. It's like it's becoming the Hall of the very good. Now, I'm not saying these guys were not very good players, but is Hall of Fame the first thing I think about? Now, I thought Andrew Jones, I thought he was going to, because I remember he came into the league, I think, at 19. He was kind of like a phenom out the block. I thought he would definitely be there, but his career plateaued off. He played 17 years, kind of a bit of a compiler in the league, but I never thought, Hall-worthy. I mean, there's a lot of guys that, put up 400 home runs and not in the Hall of Fame. So your thoughts on these individuals, Jeff Kent, Carlos Beltran, and Andrew Jones, the Hall of Fame class of 2026. It just seems like a lot of things are just getting watered down in all Hall of Fames, but just your thoughts on these three players, if you followed them or know anything about them. I think, Dante, Beltran and Kent, I think they played for Houston like 1 year, but it might have been towards the end of their careers. They spent it here with the Astros. But your thoughts on?
I know Beltran played there because I know when he had that big season. And I remember hearing about it, and he flipped and went ahead and went to New York. He went to the Mets because it was just like that was his big season. He just played it, and he made it. I will say this for Beltran.
Yeah, just real quick, Jeff Kent, he was in Houston for 1 year in 2004, and then he went to the Dodgers after that for the remainder of his career.
Okay. I would say Kent, I would say I didn't know because I didn't follow him a lot. The only time I remember him is hearing a controversy that heard rumors that him and Bonds didn't get along, and I was a big Bonds guy. So I remember him being a good player, but I never thought of him as great. Andrew Jones is the guy that I thought of because his spec is, it's two-sided. I didn't know he got to 400 home runs because I know his career kind of slumped. But him having 10 gold gloves, him having the 10-time gold gloves and 5-time All-Star, I would say he waited long enough to get in. Like he's not. I would say I thought about your rules when you kind of say because I think you lean more so on the baseball side as far as being real stringent with it, and I felt like on the stringent side because baseball does a good job of this. They might not let you in the first, second, third, fourth time, but I don't know what time this is. I'm not sure when his career ended, but I thought it was a proper time as far as him getting in. And I would say Carlos Beltran, I guess his numbers were
Jones, he retired in 2017, so this would have been his, I think, his fourth year of eligibility. And Beltran, his career ended in. Let me just check that again. 2017 for him. And then let me just Andrew Jones, 2012. So Jones was actually on that valve for much longer than the Beltran was. But like I said, I can see certainly I would have had more issue if these guys were first ballot. But even still, like I said, you have a lot of these guys. Again, they had compilers, 16, 17-year careers. So have you really been balling to that degree that you deserve Hall of Fame, Cooperstown Hall of Fame?
What I'll say about that one, we got to have a conversation about what is a compiler. If he played, so Andrew Jones played 17 seasons.
Yeah.
So 17 seasons. So I should say as a good point of reference, take off maybe the first 2 years and then take off the last 2 years, or basically look at what they were in their prime. In their prime, were they top three at their position? And my thing is, I would say for Andrew Jones, hey, you were a 10-time Gold Glover. And I want to say, I can't remember when I looked at his page, when I saw he made it, how many times he made Silver Slugger. But it's just like, hey, that's enough of an accomplishment that you did it. And I will say there are some guys that do compile, but I would say it's almost hard to say any player that was truly great or really good. It's tough to say that they were a compiler because it's like when you have that ability and that stature, you're going to play as long as you can because most guys are told when it's done because the phone doesn't ring. And I heard
and mind you, yeah. And Beltran played 20 years, by the way. So
now Beltran, yes, I'll give you I straight compile because I was like, I don't remember. It came to the point where it's just like new team, different hat. With him kind of like the Shaq thing. It's just as great as Shaq was. It's just that makes you get you an eyesore when you think of all the jerseys he had.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the other two I could do without, but I say Andrew Jones because I vividly remember him was part of those Braves teams that were really good. Back when we didn't have a million networks, back when it was like CBS they were on.
Yeah,
I think they were on and he was making plays, and so I was like, yeah, I say Andrew Jones for sure. Kent and Beltran I could have did without, but like you said, as long as you're not like, hey, you didn't. Because my thing is, if you don't make like somebody that I want to wait if he does make it on another sport, Eli Manning. Let Eli Manning wait because his career record was 500, and outside of the years that he won a Super Bowl, he did not win any playoff games. Mm-hmm. That's like somebody compared him to on the radio I was listening to. It was a New York reporter, and he said they compared him to Jim Plunkett, and that's way before my time. But they were like, "Hey, he's kind of like Jim Plunkett," and I heard because I saw when he had 2 rings. I was like, "Hey, I wonder why he's not in the Hall." And then I heard he was a journeyman, and he wasn't. The team was really good, and he just kind of was a part of it.
It was just up and down. I mean, Jim Plunkett, he was Rookie of the Year in the NFL. He also won Comeback Player of the Year. And then he has 2 Super Bowls, but he's still not in the Hall of Fame yet. So again, I think that's one I think you need to get. I mean, veterans career, I think he should have been in. If Tom Flores got in, I certainly think Jim Plunkett should get in at some point in time. But Hank, your thoughts on? I know how much you follow these players, and whatnot. But again, you got Beltran was 20 years, Jeff Kent was 17 years, Andrew Jones 17 years. Put up decent stats. Certainly had some very good years. I know Andrew had some monster years in Atlanta. Never an MVP. None of these guys ever won MVP. And so, when it comes to Hall of Fames or whatnot, what's your criteria? Are you stringent? Are there markers that you look for? None of these guys had 500 home runs. None of these guys had 3,000 hits. I mean, are there certain criteria that you look for guys you can say, yes, that guy's a Hall of Famer?
Mr. Bennett, I'm gonna say this: until I see Barry Bonds and Charlie Hustle, aka Pete Rose, in the Hall of Fame, I don't give a damn about none of the requirements, man. I really don't, because it's so foolish, it's so crazy, and we all know why. Especially Barry Bonds. Now, Pete Rose is kind of controversial, we understand, because him gambling on the baseball is the reason why he's out. Cool. But the Barry Bonds things and these Hall of Fame writers not want to put it because he didn't give them interviews and they don't feel a certain way. Look, he was a Hall of Fame before he even had to use steroids. He was a Hall of Fame before he left Pittsburgh.
100%.
So I don't understand it. And until I see these 2 individuals in, I really don't give a damn about the Hall of Fame. I can't take it serious. I really can't. So, but
that's fair.
I do like Beltran. I do like him. I think congratulations to that brother. Kent, it was during my time where I really didn't follow baseball, so I know Jeff Kent. I know little to nothing about him. So,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Coach, your thoughts on these guys getting in?
I'm just going to speak on one player. Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., Andrew Jones. Only 3 players that ever had 400 home runs, 10 gold gloves, 10 gold gloves. So, salute to them, man. Baseball, hey, let all your kids play baseball. A lot of money, less wear and tear on the body. I don't know what the criteria is. I guess you just got to wait your time out. If you had 4 or 5 good years or something, just wait your time out in baseball. Eventually, they'll get you in there. Mm-hmm. I saw the list. The list wasn't really a great list.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And I'm saying it seems like it's going to be dialed in, sort of diluted a bit because you got these obvious guys who should have been in, steroid era or not. But because of these guys, they're going to go to their graves not putting these guys in. You're dealing with like the second batch. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's going to, and they're putting fewer guys in. I mean, only had 3 guys who went in this year. I don't know what the average is. I thought it was like more than like 5 or 6 a year. But it just seems like, and they want this steroid era to die out before they kind of do a reset or what have you. But I seriously doubt. I mean, Alex Rodriguez got 40% of the vote. So those guys, they're going to their grave with that. Guy hit almost 700 home runs. But I digress. Just want to acknowledge some super chats that came through. Certainly, as we start to wind down the show, got Anton again blessing the channel. $10 super chat is for the continuing discussion on Indiana. Indiana has shown that the other schools such as Northwestern, Illinois, Maryland, and Rutgers can have an opportunity to be. I hope Rutgers. I'm a Rutgers alum, so I'm hoping that they can certainly do something with that. But certainly, with NIL and whatnot, certainly there's opportunities for some of these other schools that it does have to be concentrated in power. And then another $10 super chat. The Baseball Writers Association has the most stringent requirements of the 4 in order for anyone to be enshrined. Any player that's connected with PEDs won't get in. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think a lot of these guys are going to go to their grave with some of
them, and I based off of likability because I want to say, isn't David Ortiz in?
I think so. I think he might have gotten a couple years ago.
Yeah, and the thing is, he got in, but he's a guy that was connected to it. Like when I followed him, I didn't know he was connected to it because he was so low. I always remember, all his time with the Red Sox. I didn't even remember him with the Twins. He's a Red Sox to me, and then he got because of their media machine and being on television. But he's one that slept through.
But even still, he had a better teammate. I thought I'd pick Manny Ramirez over him in a heartbeat. But he's not. But again, because he was on some list, he's not getting in. So you're gonna keep. I mean, again, I like Big Papi. Big, colorful personality. But Manny Ramirez. I mean, how can you're not gonna let that guy in? So I'm just saying, it's just a lot of. As Shawnee saying here, probably shout out to Shawnee. Miss you tonight. Certainly on the show, but show the hypocrisy with Beltran, But yeah, I mean it's definitely it's not a you just don't go and just think it's like that guy's definitely in or shoe in, or you used to have guys it's like why you got to wait 6 years or whatever the wait is before you get in. I mean certain guys you just get in as soon as you step off the field you're in, but I never quite understood that process either of having these guys wait all this time to get in. You never know, life things can happen. Certainly you should celebrate these people while they're here and give them the platform. But that being said, our last super chat tonight as we close out the show. Again, Anton, you've been blessing us all night. Really appreciate you. Barry Bonds has always had issues with the press for one reason. He didn't like what they said about his godfather, Willie Mays. I mean, definitely, that matters, especially with baseball. It's a conservative bunch, and they definitely that's something you have to factor in when it comes to these things. It shouldn't matter, but unfortunately it does. David Ortiz is starting in Cooperstown. Yeah, he started with the Minnesota Twins and went on to the Red Sox. So, but we're going to wrap up the show here. Hank, I really want to thank you for being part of the conversation tonight, and sharing your thoughts on Caleb. And I'm glad that you're willing to give him another year. And hopefully he can, hopefully he can have better results. But I think he has certainly right now, I think he has the goods to be the best Bears quarterback that I've seen in a long time. I mean, I go back to the 80s with, like I said, your guy, McMahon. And I haven't seen anybody who kind of, jumps off the page for me as far as Bears. I think he can certainly have a very successful career there if he can get some of those disciplinary issues out, and I hope he does. But I want to give you the floor right now, certainly to share, where people can find you and your channel. I know you coming on Monday nights, but certainly plug your channel and the things that you're doing. And, so you have the floor.
Well, again, you can definitely check me out on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. I do a sports show on Mondays at 7 p.m. So definitely come over and rock with. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you want to find me on Wednesday, I do usually a Pop the Boom reaction show on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Hink in the Basement. Check me out at Hink75 on all social media platforms. You can check me out and follow me, and we can go from there and have fun.
Sounds good. Dante, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I got in there. It's a new era. I meant to put a question mark on it, but the new era of right now college football, we see that Indiana won. They've got those guys from a group of 5 school, moved them up, and they had success. And people are looking, and I don't want to say that people are looking at it because I follow a DFW high school football group, and they're like, yeah, man, stars don't matter. Stars this year. It's all about, don't lie to these kids. Those stars mean something because that's basically the signification of how good you could be going to the next level after this. And please believe, we didn't say stars didn't matter when we looked at Ohio State winning last year. And I know Michigan didn't have 1,000,000 5-stars, but they won as well as a veteran team. Those stars still matter. I think it's going to be a mix of who can, in this era, get the recruited players that you keep and then get other transferred in. I would say that teams are not getting their quarterbacks developed. A lot of teams are getting developed quarterbacks from other places, except for outside of maybe a Texas I can think of and a Georgia. They keep their guys for a long time. So while it's a new era, and we don't go out there preaching these kids these false hope. Go to these camps, go through a good recruitment process, but just know, pick a good school where you can get developed and try to stick around for at least 2 years. Because as far as the portal goes, when they look at your PFF and they see no snaps and you're trying to go somewhere else, those are the kids of the thousands that get left in the portal. So study long, and make the right decision as you go, because it is a new era and it's definitely affecting the high school recruits.
For sure. Coach, and close us out.
Man, it's a great show, man. Listen, man, I'm just going to speak in reference to sort of what Dante said going to college, man. Listen, if your kid does play sports, man, let him go to the school to get the education first. And if he happens to grow 6 inches and get 230 and run a 4.5, 4.4 40, yeah, he'll have a shot. But just remember, when you transfer into these schools, it slows down your graduation process. So think about that. First 2 years, you might be able to get away with moving around if you wanted the top 300. But once you get into that third year, fourth year, you get into your graduate courses, it will delay your graduating. And I say, if you can't make it to the NFL, try to become an agent, get your degree. Man, it's going to be a great weekend of football, man. We're down to the Final Four in the NFL, man. So, yeah, it's a great time for us to start getting in shape, man, ourselves, man. Get a little workout in our off season as we wait on football again. And, yeah, salute to everybody, man. Happy New Year to everybody, man. Salute, brother Inc.
And I'm gonna steal a line from Hank. Gentlemen, protect yourself at all times. Make sure you get your health checks, all that stuff, and especially guys 40 and 50. You guys know what to do, so make sure you take care of yourselves. But again, I want to thank these gentlemen once again for joining us here on the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Make sure you hit the like button, certainly as you leave the show. Consider becoming a subscriber to the network. And certainly visit, again, look up Hank in the Basement on YouTube. Look up his channel and, certainly follow him. I'm always in his there on Monday nights. Definitely, but a good brother, and keeps a very entertaining show. So definitely make sure you follow him. But certainly for all of us on the Black Man Unfiltered Network, this is the One-on-One Sports Show. For all of us, take care. God bless, and we will see you next time. Good night.